blow it up, you can't seal it.
Exactly.
And we're live.
Are we live?
I just turned it back on. Put your earphones on. You can hear me.
This is what I needed right here. Where are the keys?
Oh, I was texting him.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got it.
All right, so.
Mr. T.
Better verbal content you provide, I've learned a lot from. Where was I at?
The top.
Mr. Greg, new member. You guys are awesome. Placed a few orders with you guys. The gear is great. Thanks. What's better is the verbal content you provide, John. I've learned a lot from you. You've helped me improve my mentality towards life and altered my direction, which is going down a better path. Good, man. That's awesome. Just do fucking one more thing today than yesterday and one more thing tomorrow than today. Just improve. If everybody did something every day, it would be accumulative. But so often we're like, I'm going to do this thing. I'm very guilty of it, right? I'm going to do this thing. So I walk out in the garage. I'm like, well, then I walk around in circles.
That's his ADD.
And I'm like, if all the tools were in one place, I wouldn't have to look for an hour for this tool to do this 5-minute project. Maybe I should organize these tools. I'm like, fuck it. I'll do it later.
That's called a doom spiral.
So it's just constant, right? So a lot of times I'll just be like, I'll just buy a new tool. It'll be faster than finding the other one. So I'll order it off Amazon and it'll get here. And I'll be like, oh, this tool comes in a cool package. I should probably do an unboxing video. So the tool will stay in the package for weeks because I haven't done an unboxing video. And I'm like, fuck it. I'll just buy another tool so I can open that package. So 3 weeks later, I'll have the second tool and I'll do the thing that took 5 minutes. That's a lot of what happens here.
Uh-huh.
A lot.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'd have just done it right then, if I just pick that thing up that needs put away, I always worry what other people, I have people around me that are very fucking good at what they do, right? And I want those people to stay around me. So I need to be good at what I do. Like we were shooting a video in the garage with gas masks. And then last night I walked through there and I'm like, fuck, those gas masks are still sitting there on the floor where I left them 2 weeks ago. I should probably put them back on the mannequin heads, right? Before, number one, they get fucked up. Number two, they're still sitting here. And then the dudes that I'm doing all the shit with realize that I left all that shit sitting there, right? Because they rely on me. So it's just silly shit like that. Like I've got super, super cool stuff that I need to display, but I don't want to just put it on the wall because I need to do a pallet wall. But I haven't done the pallet wall because I haven't taken the pallets and torched them and stained them and cut them down, and I don't want to get the dust on me. I hate sawdust. So before you know it, a year or 2 years have gone by, and the shit is still sitting in a pile, not on the wall, because I haven't done the pallet wall. And literally, I could do it in 3 hours.
And he really had to ask if he has ADD.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, so one of the things that makes Annie and our relationship work so well is she thinks completely differently than I do. Mm-hmm. And, I walk around here and nothing seems abnormal. It's just a working shop, you know? But for a while, she kept getting on the live stream to see how long that Indian would be in the garage because it got unloaded and left there.
Yeah, well, it's fucking awesome where it was.
Yeah, it was.
It just got. I had 500 people here.
Yeah.
And inevitably somebody's going to bump it, right? So we put it by that post and then put a tie down on it so that I'm not worried about it. I don't care if it kills someone. Yeah. I don't want them breaking the Indian.
Well, see, I never noticed it there because it's just that was where it was. And then when it got moved, then I think it's a freezer.
Yes, it's a freezer.
She'll pop in every now and then. Is the freezer still there? Yep, okay.
Yep.
Just she notices shit that I would never even think
That's
about.
That's the beauty of having 16,000 square feet. I don't have to fight with Amanda about her shoe collection, and I don't have room in the closet, right? I don't have to.
We'll just find a different place to put it.
We'll just put it in another building.
Put it in another closet.
So, Josh Gilming, my doctor is reading Ken Berry's book, Lies Your Doctor Told You. We are going to be taking my test level samples next Monday. Other than checking my D3, what other things do you guys have tested? Everything.
So you need a complete blood count. You need all of your vitamins and minerals checked. You need all of your hormones, including your sex hormones, testosterone, estradiol, all of that stuff. You need your thyroid tested. You need all of the thyroid tests, not just a TSH. And if your doctor is willing, I would also have them do like a fasting insulin test. Obviously, you'll have to be fasted for that.
You should, like when you do your blood work,
You want an A1C checked. I mean, you literally want as much data as your doctor will give you.
And if you go see your doctor once a year, that ain't the doctor, right, to do this shit, because he won't do it. And if your doctor won't have the conversations you want to have or go through all of this shit, you need a different dude. Our doctor, like Dr. Barry, did those things for us,
Yes.
right? Dr. Barry was our doctor for 14 years. Our other doctors, they won't even have they won't even run the fucking tests. And even if they have them, they don't even know. It's like they don't know what the fucking shit is. When I sit, that's why I drive and sit down in Jerry's office for 3 hours. I book up 3 hours of his time to have all of these conversations. How can I be better? And like the testosterone thing, right? We went from, I've always shot intermuscular with a big fucking needle, right, into big muscles. And he's like, you can do it into belly fat. So we did, it worked. He's like, how's your testosterone? I go, it's really not working, man. He's like, okay, well, do you want to go back intermuscular? He goes, what's not working? I go, I just don't feel rested. I don't feel as aggressive. I don't feel as energetic.
He just wasn't getting as many
Right. He's like,
benefits.
okay, well, let's go back. Let's go back intermuscular then. And we did. And we changed from one testosterone to a different type, not an anthracypinate. I use propionate. It crosses the blood-brain barrier. And immediately, I mean immediately. And a lot of dudes, I tell dudes, I'm like, oh, you got testosterone. Your dick's going to be really hard in the morning, right? You're going to have more energy. You're going to feel more rested. And they're like, and people question it. They're like, oh, that's just placebo. You know, it takes a couple hours. Bullshit. It is in the fucking blood system. It's just like when you take vitamin B. They can shoot vitamin B in your ass. You're going to taste it in your mouth because it's in your blood.
Yep.
And that's how that shit works. So just having the right doctor. So if you don't get what you want from that doctor, and I'm not saying go doctor shopping. I'm saying these are hormones, and your general practitioner doesn't have a fucking clue. Most doctors, especially if you're reading lies your doctor told you, you know this. Doctors are just there to sell drugs. And if you are on insurance, the doctor, it's a sliding scale. When the doctor prescribes one drug, they only make let's say they make 5% off of that prescription. By the time they've sold the third drug, they make 40% on that prescription. So they have to stack these things. They are there to sell you drugs. They are not there to heal you. They will put themselves out of business. If you find a doctor that takes cash, it is a very different conversation and situation than a doctor that only takes insurance. Very much different. What else? And I didn't find these things out until like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I only have the knowledge I have because I've followed Dr. Barry for so long. Like, I've consumed probably 1 million hours of his
Dr.
content.
Barry puts a lot of content out, and if you join his private groups, it costs a little bit of money, but you have access to fucking a doctor that is going to tell you some shit. Dr. Barry never met with pharmaceutical reps. Like, they weren't welcome in the office because they're just drug dealers. And most of your pharmaceutical reps, it used to be that they were pharmacists or went to pharmacy tech school or something. They're all business administrators. They're all business
They're
guys,
just salesmen.
business majors. So it's much like the real estate agency. And if you haven't heard this, the chicks are fucking dudes to sell the houses. The chicks are fucking the doctors to sell the medication. The pharmaceutical reps, it's like a multi-level marketing thing. Hey, we'll give you a Tesla for a year. We'll do your lease. Hey, you want to come on a cruise? You bring your family. Oh, you don't want to bring your family? Yeah, we'll go on this other cruise. Hey, we'll send you, here's 2 plane tickets. Here's a fucking some invitations to the private box at the fucking football game. It's all bribery. That's why they're hot chicks and they're good looking dudes selling that shit. It ain't some slouch motherfucker. There's a lot of money in that industry. And a lot of it is it's just fucking networking. It's not about your health.
Correct.
What I was going to say is if you're getting a doctor to test your testosterone, like a general practitioner, they might say, oh, you're fine because there's such a large spectrum of what fine is.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in that, you might want to go see a specialist.
Not only that, like most doctors, hey, I want testosterone. Oh no, I can't give you steroids.
Yeah.
I can't give you anabolics. It'll make your prostate fall out. Your butthole will fall, right? They don't know if they're sticking their fingers up your asshole to check your prostate.
That's the wrong doctor. They don't need to do that
They don't
anymore.
need to do that. When you go get an STD check, like in the military, you always heard these horror stories of sticking a swab up the fucking pee hole. They also don't have to do that shit anymore. That is just them being fucking sadistic.
Yeah, that's just them
You
torturing
don't
you.
like they can see, they know what your PSA is off your fucking blood work.
Yep.
And a lot of times, if your prostate's a little elevated, your PSA's up, you can use Cialis and it'll fucking drop it right back down into the norm. Like there's a lot of cause and effect, and there's multiple ways to fix things. We get these girls in here all the time, and they're like, "My doctor said I have high blood pressure. I have to stop taking salt." You fucking need salt. Stop taking salt changes the numbers. It doesn't fix the fucking problem. What is the problem? And the reality is, if you stop putting all that bullshit in your fucking mouth, those problems go away. It's not about fucking salt. Every animal out here, why do we put salt blocks out for fucking deer? Why do we put mineral blocks out for the fucking animals? Because they need it. They know they need it.
And let's get down to like biology here. Your body is what, 70% water, right?
Salt water.
And all of the things that happen in your body are all caused by electricity, right? And the salt in the water is what makes the electricity flow better. So your body requires salt.
Yep, pH. I didn't know until recently. I don't know how I didn't know this. Probably because I dropped out of high school in the 10th grade. Dr. Valley was my physical science teacher. I actually ditched. I would not go to school first period. I would go to school second period to go to Mr. Valley's class, and then I'd ditch all the rest of the classes. I only went to school to see that teacher, and he had a huge impact on my life. But he was the physical science teacher. That's why I'm thinking of him. pH. Do you know what pH stands for? It stands for potential hydrogen. That's the electric. It's the potential for electricity, and that's what that's about. I didn't know that shit.
I didn't know that either.
But she's what she said. So you have access to Ken Berry. I actually talked. I was texting with Ken this morning. I asked him about couple.
It's his birthday today.
Is it?
Yep.
He's so lucky. He's next to my birthday. You know who else's birthday's on my birthday? Jelly Roll 615.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
I really like him. Like, I didn't really know too much about him until I moved because he wasn't, he's just now getting popular.
No, he's always been popular. He's just popular to the normal people.
Yeah.
We were listening to Jelly Roll before we moved here.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
He's just now becoming a superstar, so he's everywhere now.
Several of his videos have SOE hoodies and shit in them.
Really? Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to go back and look because, like, that guy, something about him, like, he's always happy and apparently he's going through a lot of shit right now. Like, a bunch of people are dying in his life, and you wouldn't see it. Like,
you mean like his mom and stuff?
Yeah.
So he comes from a very poor lifestyle,
mm-hmm.
very much poverty. His house, he lives where, remember when we went to Sherman's wedding?
Yes.
He lives there.
Yeah.
So and everybody there loves him. He lives in a gated community where the cheapest house in there is $10 million. Fucking more power to him, man.
Yeah, I just like seeing whatever he's doing.
I don't know him. I got a buddy that works like side by side with him, like it's one of his dudes.
And even his wife, like at first you think his wife is just like some dumb bimbo.
So Bunny totally, her Dumb Blonde podcast, she is super monetized. They're really done well. They've got a television show coming out on Peacock also. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. But she's very, because people are like, what is he, 600 pounds?
Probably, yeah.
And they ask her about that, and she's like, I'm not worried about Jelly Roll being big. I'm worried about Jelly Roll leaving me because I am bigger. Jelly Roll's girl is a very small, thin, skinny girl with no tits. Mm-hmm. And Bunny's big, right? Yeah. Fucking just cover of Playboy magazine, fucking, big, huge titties. She's big. And she's like, that's my concern. I'm not worried about, everybody wants to bring up Jelly Roll's size. She's like, I just love him. We love each other.
Yeah, and if you know about their story, like, he was poor when they got together, so it's not like he...
Yeah, it's been off and on. They were apart. Yeah. You can tell when they're together, not off of his music.
Yeah.
The aggressive, he has, to do the kind of money, like, everybody kind of has to go mainstream, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know what Machine Gun Kelly is doing now, but I'll bet he's making tons more money. But every time I hear a Machine Gun Kelly track, I'm like, holy shit, he's making real fucking music again. Nope, that's his old shit.
Yeah. That's his old shit.
Now he's wearing fucking panties and
pink,
doing whatever. So,
well, that's because he's drinking his wife's blood.
Probably.
No, they came out and said it.
Yeah, they all do.
He's going into the Illuminati.
Whatever.
Stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, is that like, hey, let's be blood brothers? Is that some shit you used to do as a kid? I mean, what is it really? Who knows?
The one that, like, when I was a kid that was like, oh my God, that actually happened was Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton. They would wear each other's
vials,
blood.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm in a bunch of oddities groups where there's artists that only do paintings in blood, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? Drive strength. John, heard you talking about oxygen therapy recently. I have an oxygen generator that hooks into a CPAP machine. What would you recommend incorporating the machine into? For example, should I wear it while working out? Thank you. So you shouldn't take any of my fucking advice because I don't have an oxygen machine and I've not done it. Does Jerry have an oxygen machine?
I don't
Oxygen therapy?
think so.
So
But the place in Nashville does.
yeah, in Nashville they have a hyperbaric chamber. I'm actually talking about, it's a machine that's about 5 feet tall. It's an oxygen machine, and then it has a faceplate. So you ever see those guys on the treadmills running really fast, and they're wearing the mask? That's what I'm looking at. I'm also looking at a hyperbaric chamber. They're considerably more. You're going to get a hyperbaric chamber. It's going to be about $20,000. The one we were looking, isn't that what he said? 40, 20? I think he said 20. And you're going to sleep in it. Or you're just going to go to sleep while you're in it, and you're going to be in there for 90 minutes, I think he said.
60 to 90 minutes.
Yeah, first time 30 minutes, I think he said.
The first time is an hour, and then after that you can go 90 minutes. You have to have at least 4 hours in between. I was reading all about it today.
Mm-hmm. Also, speaking of salt again, Ethan was mentioning that he wants to do float tank. And he's like, that salt, it's such high concentration salt is so good for you. Because you're actually in the water.
Yeah, they put like 1,500 pounds of salt in that water.
Yeah, so I don't know drive strength. Look into it. I know people talking about running O2 through the mask. I know there's these little bottles that look like spare air kind of. It's got a little mouthpiece or a mouth, cup that you can use. But what that is I watched some respiratory therapists actually pump that in and read it off the meter and everything, and it's 80% oxygen. It's not medical grade oxygen. And by the time you huff off of it, you might kind of feel it while you're working out. But to really get the why the fuck can't I ever say it? Alveoli to open up to have the oxygen exchange, you're going to have expended the whole can. So you can buy multiple cans, but on the meter to get it to register, you're going to get 6-7 really good puffs out of that thing, and the can's empty. So the way they get away with not having to have a prescription for it, and why do we need a prescription for medical grade oxygen? I'm waiting for you to answer that, anyone? Not you guys, any of you guys. I'm sure there's some reason. But you can get aviation oxygen, which is only 80%, and you don't have to have a prescription for it. I don't know why. I know at depth oxygen becomes toxic and caustic and different things happen,
but yet you can go buy bleach right off the shelf.
Right, and there's plenty of people eating Tide Pods. So I don't know enough about it to tell you how to use it, drive strength. And I'm not just saying that. I really don't know enough. It's something that I'm just kind of looking into. While we're in Nashville this weekend, we will probably hit that place up. It's they do a lot of vitamin therapies. Does Jerry do vitamin therapies?
Jerry doesn't. And I actually asked him, I said, if I go get a vitamin IV, is that going to fuck up my labs? And he said, absolutely not.
So we're looking at some of that stuff. And there's a lot of different things they put in there. Again, you can hear all about this. I'm just repeating Brad Lee, Brecka. Dr. Brecka was on Brad Lee's show.
LEA, not LEE.
Listen to some of his stuff, and you'll see why we're pursuing this. Jeremy Wilson, John, Amanda, again, thank you for the awesome content. I usually end up listening to the next morning working at my desk. I know you have a long history with Strider. Is there a specific model or specific knife that is your favorite and holds sentimental value for such a reason? So there is a knife called the JW. Can you guess what it stands for? It stands for John Willis. There's a knife called the HT, which stands for Heath Thomas. That's a friend of mine that was a Border Patrol React guy. He was in the Navy prior to that. The knife I drew out that I wanted was the HT, and they built it, and somehow it ended up being named the HT. My Cody's mom asked Dwayne to make a knife for my birthday, and it was that knife. And Dwayne ended up building this big double-edged knife, which became the JW. Very cool. I like all the Striders. There's a few Striders I don't like, and I don't like all you motherfuckers with this, like, I don't even know what they call it. They tumble it in rocks, and it literally looks like the finish on a galvanized trash can. I don't know why you motherfuckers want that shit. There's a couple of blade profiles Mick makes, and I'm like, why the fuck would you want that thing? But everything else, 99% of the shit they have, I like. We're about to do a couple more collaborations with them. We're going to do a small fixed blade neck knife. We're going to do some different things with some different logos and shit in them, cut through the handle. And then we're probably going to run, the next folder will probably be an S&G, one of the smaller ones. I just saw them put out something in a fucking bronze. Was badass. It was really cool. I've got a bronze one that Dwayne did that was actually made of U.S. Navy bronze. That's fucking real cool too. You can't go wrong with them, Jeremy Wilson. If you're getting one, if you want something, just get what you like. Like, if you're like, I don't want to buy a Strider, just literally get what you want. And I say this all the time, and I've never heard him. We're going to actually have Jade on here. I asked him if he'd come down, and we're going to kind of do a behind-the-scenes podcast. It's going to be probably me, Jade, and Scully, and then we'll probably do another one, just me and Jade, because there's so much to talk about. I think Jade was a fucking WWE wrestler. Jade, can you imagine that?
No.
Jade was in a fucking rock, like a big fucking rock band.
The band.
I can't remember all of you have heard about it.
Yeah, I remember him telling me about it.
He was in a clothing company that was like no fear, like huge.
Wasn't it Stussy?
Stussy, maybe it was Stussy. It's fucking like, I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Maybe it was
He was a cop, like all this shit, right? SWAT guy. So then he's been everywhere, man. He was part of Starling Gear. He worked with RMJ. He's done all kinds of shit. But he's really, really in the knife world and the high-end knife world, right? So we're just going to talk behind the scenes. But the thing with the knives is, guys are like, they always, it's back to that, why was that knife $2,000? That's the same, and I get it, man. You're not there. I don't care to educate you on it, because if you're asking, you're not going to buy it anyways. I don't care to convince you to. I have more people that want to buy my knives than I have knives. Always. Yeah. Always will. And that's the same with the gear. Like, you don't see a whole, like, the content we put out, 90% of the content we put out, you wouldn't even know that we build nylon tactical gear. You wouldn't have a clue. Because it's already sold. Like Horton, Horton has said some shit that has really stuck with me through my life. He's like, man, if I want you to buy my knife, I'll call you and ask you, but you tell you can buy my knife. I don't need, no. Like, I'll let you know when you can buy my shit. Yeah. That's how he is. The other thing he said was, I
don't want to be a knife maker.
Oh man, I don't know if I want to be a knife. Not that one. Like, I don't know if I could get Horton in here. There's a few videos out there where Horton's there, but he's very opposed to being on camera. But he said, and Horton at the shows is usually drunk. He's like, oh man, I wear a $20 pair of Dickies from Walmart. I wear a t-shirt from a friend's company that gave me his t-shirt, another knife maker. And Horton's like Boomhauer when he talks, like, dang, this old possum in a tree. Like, I love, like, that is a good motherfucker, Horton, Jeremy Horton.
That's a good connection to have.
Not even he is just a good fucking person, just a real dude. But then he's like, and I wear a really expensive watch, so other dudes with really expensive watches will buy my expensive knives. And he said it completely sober. Jeremy is really the reason that I have any of those watches that I have. Longer story. Ask me in another question. We'll go off on that one. But the Strider knife, right? The guy's like, why is that knife $2,000? Well, that's the same dude that's like, I wouldn't buy that fucking Rolex. Those keep shitty time. Mm-hmm. Well,
that's also the one that says money's not everything.
What are you wearing? I mean, what do you have? I don't need a watch. Well, then why are you asking me about mine? So it's not about the $2,000 knife is not necessarily a better knife. It is. It's better than a Spyderco, right? But the Spyderco is probably going to cut shit better for you, right? Do you want to cut steak with it? Buy a Spyderco. You want to cut envelopes open in cardboard box? Buy a Spyderco. But if ever you have to pull that motherfucker out of your pocket and use it to pry a door open with, you ain't doing that with that Spyderco. That Strider knife will. You can use the Strider for shit that you shouldn't use a knife for. But with that said, a $2 flat blade screwdriver is a better screwdriver than a $2,000 Strider still. Yeah. So should you buy a $100 Spyderco and a $2 screwdriver? It just depends who you are.
And also, it's a piece of art. Like, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I have it. It's we all like striker-fired pistols. We all carry either Glocks or facsimiles of Glocks. But you know what I really like is those Jesse James 1911.
Fuck yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I would love to have one of those.
Yeah, there's some video and pictures out there of Jesse with combat cock sitting in the back of them. We met Jesse a few times.
Yeah. I've like, cause he's from California and like
isn't he in Texas now?
Yeah, I've known about him. Like I've got some West Coast Choppers t-shirts that I bought at motorcycle shows. I don't think they were from him. I was really young. I don't remember. But it was like he was there just hawking t-shirts.
He's super tall.
Yeah.
Huge.
Super tall.
Yeah, he's like a big guy. Like you don't really see it on camera, but he's muscular.
Yeah, he's big, yeah.
But I've always liked his shit. I've always liked his motorcycles, but that's way impractical. Like you're gonna buy a $200,000 motorcycle that's a rigid that you can't ride anymore.
Right, like buying fucking OCC or whatever.
Yeah, but I can go to a barbecue with one of those pistols.
And Jesse, cool. Yes, I know that your bikes are nothing like OCC.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's cool. It's a cool piece of art that you can actually have fun with, just like the knives are.
Yeah. So John Kranz, I took fighting shotgun this week. That's right, you were in town here. There were 21 alumni in the class, and after talking to everyone, we agreed that toxic green shotgun cards would be a game changer for training. After the side saddle went empty, we ripped them off and tossed them for a new loaded card, and they were a bitch to find. Bright green was the only color shell we didn't see on the ground.
Yeah.
If making them isn't an option, would spray paint affect the elastic? So I've never seen toxic green elastic. I've also, in 20 years of making these products and having been on the range all the time, I've never had a problem picking these things up either and finding them. So we're addressing a problem that doesn't exist. Neat idea. Could you paint them? Yeah, you could paint them. Would it affect the elastic? I don't think it would, man. I think you'd be fine painting them. Paint them or do whatever you want with them.
Maybe put a green paracord on the loop.
Yeah, maybe green paracord on the loop. I don't know, but I haven't. That doesn't mean it's not there. But I have inquired in the past about getting it, and we've not been able to get it through any of our vendors. We wanted to do it with the Joker rigs. We were going to do shotgun rigs that were purple with toxic green for David Kipps. Tokyo-san, not a question, just comment. And also, Kranz, sorry we missed you. We were out of town. Not a question, just a comment. Tokyo-san says, not a question, just a comment. A couple of weeks ago, I asked on a live if there was gummies in stock. Y'all said, yeah. So I ordered some with my order. Just got them this morning. And damn, they are so good as advertised. Will be good stocking stuff. They are. When we place our gummy bear order, they don't go and just pull them off a shelf in a warehouse. They put all the gummy bear spooge in the gummy bear machine, and it makes gummy bears. They're fresh. Like when we get them, they were made, a few days earlier. Great company, U.S. made, right here in the United States. Best product there is.
Super easy to do business with.
We buy 5,000 pounds of them at a time, and we buy probably every quarter. We also do a green Army Man Gummy Man Army Man, and they're like sour apple. I don't identify them as sour apple. I think they taste more like cherry. And then we do some red, white, and blue ones. We also do red, white, and blue Army Men. We do red, white, and blue gummy bears around 4th of July. And we also do some chocolate-covered gummy bears. Delicious, great.
Those are like crack.
What are we, 1 pound bags?
Yeah.
Full 1 pound bags.
That's a lot, too.
It is.
It is. But if you open that, I can't open them. I'll never rip a bag open. I'll eat the whole thing. But sometimes when they're being packaged up, I'll be like, give me a handful of those.
Yeah.
They're great. They are. And I'm glad you like them. So that's the last of the questions here for episode 19, question and answer. Hope there is some entertainment and some education and some value somewhere in here for each one of you. Thanks for participating, and leave us some more questions, and we will do this again next week.
That's a wrap.
What the fuck? I had the other shit on there. I don't know. Oh, because you rebooted it.
You rebooted it.
Shitty music. All right. Cut that shit off.
Trying to tear us down, tear us down.